Welcome to today's chemistry lecture. In this lecture, we are going to study the constructed response questions and descriptive questions. We will see every question one by one with their answers. So, let's start our lecture with descriptive questions. So, our first question: explain the effect of surface area on the rate of reaction. So we all know that reaction involving solving take place on the surface and the rate of reactions to great extent on area of surface between them. The larger the area, the possibility of particles colliding between each other is higher. For example, a large piece of wood will burn slowly while small pieces burns rapidly. So the surface area is directly proportional to the rate of reaction. Our second question is describe the main points of the Gleian theory of reaction rate. So, the rate of reaction depends upon the number of effective Gleian, which in turn depend upon the following factor as the number of particles per unit. Second, the frequency of collision, the kinetic energy of particles, and activation energy. All our four things are directly proportional to the rate of reaction. As Gleian theory says that if we increase the volume per unit, it will increase the Gleian and the rate reaction will be high. If as in the second, Gleian theory said frequency of Gleian. By increasing the frequency of the particles between each other, the rate will be high. The third is kinetic energy of particles. As the difference in kinetic energy deposits, the definition says that the particles that moving fast leading to more vigorous motion that will increase the rate reaction. And the fourth is activation energy, which also Gleian theory. The gliding particle will lead to effective Gleian when we deposit the sufficient energy to break the bond present between the particles. Our third question, which has two parts, that said discuss the following factors affecting the rate of reaction. First factor is effect of concentration of the reactant and the effect of temperature at which a reaction is carried out. So let's see the first factor, which is effect of concentration of the reactant. We all know that in order to reaction occur, the reactant must come in contact with each other. The higher the number of particles of the reactant per unit volume, higher will be the chance of effective collision and hence higher will the rate of reaction. The second factor is effect of temperature. As the temperature of a reaction is increased, the kinetic energy of participating reactant particles also increase. This increase the velocities of their movement. As a result, collision which lead to the occurrence of reaction also increase, enhancing the rate of reaction. Our next question is how does chemical kinetics play an important role in the food industry? As we studied in the previous lectures that the rate of chemical reactions which are involved during food ripening and food spoilage are studied for different types of fruits and vegetables. Thus, the information obtained is used to minimize the loss due to spoilage. Food scientists can determine the optimum condition for harvesting, storage, and transportation of food produced by studying the rates of enzymatic reactions, oxidation, or microbial growth. Our next question is write briefly about the role enzymes play in our body as biological catalysts. So let's see the answer. These are basically proteins which help to speed up specific chemical reactions taking place in our body. They react with the reactant molecule using the active sites present in them. Once bound with the reactant molecule, the particle bonds in the reactant molecule are sufficiently weakened for the reaction to take place. The product form then dissociates itself from enzyme which then free to bind another reactant. These active sites present in enzymes are very specific, such as particular enzyme can react specifically only. Let's move to our constructive response question. So our first question is in what different ways you can increase the successful collision between the particles of the reactant. So there are many ways in which we can increase the successful collision. For example, by increasing the temperature, by increasing the frequency of the participant. Difference in kinetic energy and frequency of collision can also be increased by increasing the surface area of a solid. So our next question is, give an example of a reaction which proceeds with the gain in mass. For example, if we use a ribbon of magnesium is burnt in an open crucible, the mass of product formed will be greater than the reactant. This increase in mass has occurred due to the reaction of magnesium with oxygen present in air. However, if the two reactants are allowed to react in a closed container, the total mass will remain the same before and after the reaction. Next question is, from where do molecules get energy to attain higher energy state? So molecules get energy to attain a higher energy state from their surrounding, usually in the form of heat, light and chemical energy released by the bond formation or broken during the chemical reaction. Our next question is, how does the presence of V2O5 catalyst lower the activation energy of the reaction given in the question? So under the conditions like 450 degrees Celsius and 2 to 3 atmospheric pressure, 98% sulfur oxide gas is converted into SO3, which regarded a major role of a catalyst. So we can clearly see that this catalyst will lower the activation energy and provide an alternative pathway in which SO2 is oxidized to SO3 in intermediate steps and requires less energy than uncatalyzed reaction. Our next question is, explain the catalyst action of an enzyme. Enzymes are biological catalysts. These are basically proteins which help to speed up specific chemical reaction taking place in our body. They react with reactant molecule using the active sites present in them. They are specifically active site specific, only attached to those reactants who are specifically shaped by their active sites. Our last question of this exercise, if you desire to stop a reaction going on at 60 degree, what action you will take? So by cooling the reaction mixture. To stop reaction, the reaction mixture should be cooled quickly. Lowering the temperature reduces the kinetic energy of molecules, decrease the number of successful collision which result in case of the reaction. We can also stop the reaction by removing one of the reactant or by removing a catalyst if present in the reaction. So our today's lecture is complete now. Hopefully you understand well and memorize well.